Hello and welcome back to the episode 3 recap. It has been a while since we've made a episode recap, but here we are. I never thought this would be a thing, but it is. Now, I'm gonna try my best to reserve my opinions on episode 3 for another video. Frankly speaking, if I ever do make a opinions video, I'm gonna be mainly insulting Irvelin, maybe Luna, maybe every other character other than Mort, but it is what it is. So, episode 3, really, I cannot tell you what's the theme, what's the this, it's really all over the place. So, episode 1 is the intro, which I'll cut it some slack. Frankly speaking, the only reason why I don't hate episode 1 as much as I thought I would is because it's kinda short, not gonna lie. You can easily speed run through episode 1 if you want. Episode 2 gave you a lot, and it was pretty nice because we actually see more context into the Celestial War. Now, the thing that I do hate about episode 2, however, was that some context was in a Korean blog post on Stove, exploring the lore of the game and the Celestial War and this and that, except for some reason that blog post isn't a thing anymore. So episode 2 lore, you wouldn't get it unless you were literally playing the game on the first 2 years or if someone explained the lore to you. Now, one thing I do want to mention, in episode 1 there was a Chaos Gate, and in that Chaos Gate, the Lefundos army and the Wintenberg army came to help Ross kill the Archdemon, which, by the way, somewhere in episode 2 to episode 3, the director of the game changed. And this is where things get funny to me, because in episode 1, Rose was with Terranor, except she's from Wintenberg, and after you defeat Rose, there's no dialogue. So for a while, I thought Rose was dead, and then they make one event of her going to Raingar, casually high school setting, and then she reappears in episode 3. I know that they make fun of it during the episode, so I'm gonna cut them some slack there, but clearly there's some lack of direction. Also, in episode 1, I thought Chaos Gates were like a rare occurrence. When Ross first sees it, he's like in disbelief that, it happened, because it's supposed to be so rare, but then it seems like everywhere Chaos Gates are a thing. In fact, in episode 2, Lilibet says the only reason she can't open a Chaos Gate is because the Chaos Star is a little, to the left or to the right. It's just not in its usual place, which I don't know, man. I know in Epic 7, star equals God, but at the same time, I just want to say, if you've studied anything about astronomy or astrology or anything, you would know that stars, they're technically moving, but when you're on a planet, the star is in the same spot. The only reason you don't see it in the morning is because it's too bright to see. You have to wait until nighttime to see it. So I don't know, what do you mean the Chaos Star is a little out of place? And as I said in the episode 2 recap, had Smilegate wanted to speedrun the episode 2 story, they just take a Chaos Gate, take Ross to Strays, and boom. They literally skip 4 chapters. There is no way the villains win. And it is what it is. Now in episode 3, we casually ignore that. I understand Chaos Sect appears at the very start of the story in the Lefundos chapters, but that's the thing that's fucking with me. Why is the Chaos Sect Chaos Gate different than the Chaos Gates we see in episode 1? And why are the Chaos Gates in episode 1 different from the Chaos Gates we see in episode 3? See, I'm starting to dive into my opinions, but this isn't an opinion. This is actual fact right now. So in episode 1, Chaos Gates take you from point A to point B. Alright, fair enough. How did they transport Wintenberg army? How did they transport Lefundos army? How did they do all these ReZero events and stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we go to episode 2. Chaos Gates actually drop the unknown. And if you enter the Chaos Gates, similar to episode 1 where you battle for the Heart of Orbis, you battle some mobs, and then you find the Chaos Gate at the end of it. Okay, sure, fair enough. But then the Chaos Gates Lilibet is opening, the Chaos Gates Strays are opening. They just look at the Chaos Star and they're like, yo, Chaos, open gate from this to this. and then it just happened. I don't know. But then in episode 3, you know, well, chapters 6 to 8, I think, the Phantom CIC kind of just enters a Chaos Gate. They battle monsters in it, and they have many Chaos Gates that travel through time. I'm just, you know, if this doesn't open what a shitfest episode 3 is, I don't know. Now, this could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I'll reserve my opinions, as I said. Episode 3, is it all fluff? Is it like so much text with no gratification? Or is it actually a long read worth your time? Let's find out, which, by the way, there's a lot of spoilers. This is literally a recap. Like, you should know this. It's a recap. But, you know, count on me to, you know, spot anything you might have missed.
Victory is calling me.
If you really thought the episode 3 recaps with episode 3 itself, boy, are you wrong. Well, you see, in the Reputations, there is a moment where the Phantom CIC talks with a guy called Digitus, who clues them in on Chaos Gate's Moonlight Phenomenon and all that shenanigans. Now, the Moonlight Phenomenon we can leave for another video, but the point is, this Digitus guy turns out to be the king of Lefundos who ran away, Skinnell. And although the Reputation story does end on a cliffhanger where, you know, Garu discovers that, yo, that's Skinnell, isn't he? And, you know, Cecilia also discovers, yo, that's Skinnell, isn't he? And, you know, Cecilia meets Tywin, Tywin helps Cecilia, and she's just like, you know, I would feel guilty lying to these people, so she just straight up tells Tywin and Roman, yo, Skinnell is actually there. And that's the entire side story. This is, you know, the genesis. This is the point that starts episode 3. Or rather, it doesn't really start episode 3 there. There is another event that we have to look into. But yeah, this event is basically the resolution of the Reputation, which is so weird to me because it shows so much setup, you know? Like, episode 3 has been planned before the release of the game, since the Reputations have been there for as long as I remember. So, you know, T1 event happened while episode 1 was still a thing. Like, T1 event is so old, and when episode 3 restarted, they reran this event because they knew that as soon as episode 4 starts, some people might start episode 3, which I appreciate. Now, next up is another event that still takes place within the realm of episode 1, but it's not before, it's not after or during episode 2. In fact, it happens right in the middle, I would argue. So basically, Garu notices Yufine is having a little too many nightmares, right? And the name of this event is Little Nightmares or something. Anyways, so Garu sends Yufine on a task so that in the meantime he can contact her aunt, Alencia, which, by the way, apparently Yufine had amnesia the whole time. Is it amnesia? I don't know. She just cannot remember her past. In fact, she doesn't remember having a family in the first place. So while Yufine is doing her objective in Solayu, she meets Charlotte, and Charlotte wins a 1v1 against Yufine. And after that 1v1, Charlotte starts, you know, bonding with Yufine, and Charlotte tells Yufine, yo, if you find Cecilia, call me. But then when Yufine goes back to the pub, you know, Garu is telling her about Alencia and all that shenanigans. And Yufine is like, how dare you betray me? I had no family. You were my family, Garu. In fact, she feels betrayed because she thinks he's sending her away and he doesn't want to see her anymore or something of that nature. Anyways, Yufine runs to Charlotte and they bond together. And would you look at that? Alencia finds Yufine later. And she's like, okay, we're going to Eureka. But Yufine says, no, we're not going to Eureka. In fact, we're going to go to Eureka under one condition, if Charlotte tags along. And would you look at that? Alencia refuses, but Yufine joins the 1v1. I mean, Alencia was like, I'll test you, Charlotte. If you can win against me, or you're coming to Eureka. But because Yufine joined the 1v1 and made it into a 2v1, Alencia was like, nope, I am not I am not gonna one-shot Charlotte because it is what it is. And yeah, Alencia ends up taking Charlotte and Euphine with her. The only reason Charlotte tagged along is because, you know, she wants to find Cecilia. And Cecilia, unironically, came to episode 1 looking for Luna, and she didn't find Luna. And she met with Charlotte, and Charlotte looks into Cecilia because Cecilia is a true queen. Charlotte, while she does think she's queen, she doesn't think she's a true queen, you know? So, in a way, Charlotte wants to meet Cecilia to learn more about what it is to be a true queen. So, yeah, these are the incentives for the characters, which, by the way, if you thought it ends there, it does not. Next up, we have one of the dumbest events of all time. So, Rose, after we beat her up in Tyranor, which, by the way, at first I was suspicious that Rose was hypnotized by Tenebria, which is a solid theory, because why would Rose be obsessed with the power of the Archdemon? In fact, during the episode 1 resolution, the Winterberg army literally spawns to raid Tyranor. So like, how did Cecilia not fight Rose? How did Rose not realize, yo, these are people from Lefundos, these are people from Winterberg? How did she not notice that she's fighting against her own people? Well, whatever. I thought Rose was dead, but turns out she's alive. And she wakes up, goes to Rengar thinking Cecilia is there, and a gang approaches her. And she beats them up, and then suddenly now she's the gang leader. So, you know, other gangs try to gang up on her because no way a new gang leader emerges, am I right? But she ends up beating them up, and she dresses up in a school uniform like a true Rengar student, and surprise, surprise, she's getting along really well with these gangs. Now, Numinous finds Rose and is like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you cosplaying this stuff? And then Rose is like, no, I'm actually using this as a connection base to find Cecilia. And Numinous drops the news. In fact, Cecilia returned to Winterberg. So like, god damn you, Rose, you were useless. You're bad at this. And then Rose is like, huh? Really? Cecilia's back? And then they just go back to Winterberg. Yep. Rose. What a character. There is one more event that I almost forgot, but I'm so offended that I have to talk about this event, so I'll just speedrun it. So basically, once Clown Rose realizes Cecilia's back, she goes with Cecilia and Numinous back to Winterberg, which, by the way, I'm gonna point out a plot hole here. So end of episode 1, Cecilia leads the Winterberg army to storm Tyranor Castle, right? So Cecilia was confirmed alive, otherwise how would the Winterberg army know that they should come raid the Tyranor Castle? Anyways, episode 2 happens directly after episode 1. There is no time to think. You know why? Because after unrecorded history, Destina event happens while unrecorded history is a thing. So as soon as Ross reveals himself to be alive, Destina tells him, yo, Malachus is weakening, and then episode 2 happens. And then directly after episode 2, not even 2 months, 2 weeks, there's barely enough time. Like, it's such a small amount of time that Charles tells Ross, yo, go to Eureka and have them sign this alliance. That way we can secure the peace in case a archdemon or someone like Strays appears. And then he heads off to Eureka. And you're telling me that in that time, Cecilia went back to Winterberg while episode 2 was happening. And oh my god. Anyways, you're telling me that Cecilia went back to Eureka and they crowned a new queen. Now, obviously, they made the two queens fight and the winner becomes the actual queen. And Ilinov is supposed to be way weaker than Cecilia. In fact, Ilinov is supposed to be on equal terms with Rose. But what ends up happening is Ilinov whispers Luna's name. Can you kill Luna if she were in front of you? And then that makes Cecilia's mind waver for like a split second, and then Ilinov wins the battle straight up, and now Ilinov is queen. What a pathetic event that shows you nothing. Just damn. It's like it took you a month to say, yup, Cecilia's dead, let's bring a new queen. Anyways, with that order of events done, we can finally we can finally start episode 3 for real.
Your time has passed. Take everything from you.
Welcome to Lefundos, the country of magic and artistry, where 98% of the wealth is controlled by the royalty, 1.9% is controlled by the nobility, and 0.1% is reserved just in case for the commoners. I see nothing wrong in a world filled with monarchies. Anyways, Ross, heir of the Covenant, our main character, sets foot here, and the very first thing happens is that he gets approached by a kind artisan who draws a portrait of him, Archie, and Mercedes for the humble price of 10,000 gold. Now, of course, Ross doesn't believe him, and I just want to note, as savior of the world, Ross, number one, is not recognized by the public, which is weird. Number two, Ross, savior of the world, 2 times, 6 times, I don't know how many times by now, is broke enough to not carry 10,000 gold when coming to another country. Anyways, he gets saved by Chu, who appears and stops the scammy business. She tells the artisan, do this stuff again and I swear I'll report it to the authorities. Ross ends up getting the portrait for like 5 gold or something, maybe even for free. And perfect, all is well. So they proceed and then they find a familiar. Now said familiar is lost. Ross, heir of the Covenant, picks up the familiar and heads to the castle. And when he heads while he's heading to the castle, he ends up running into thieves. Now, he beats up the thieves and he casually catches a glance of Evelyn. Now, supposedly, Evelyn calls Ross a typical commoner, and the merchant beside Ross tells Ross, yo, that guy is actually the second heir of the throne, Evelyn. Had Ross known earlier, he would have approached Evelyn and told him about the alliance shenanigans. So yeah, Ross's entire role here is to get Lefundos and all the neighboring countries in Eureka to sign an alliance in case, a otherworldly threat like strays or the archdemon were to ever appear again. Anyways, on his way to the castle, Ross picks up the familiar, and when Tywin, or Tywin, whatever you want to say, I'm going to call him Tywin. When Tywin finds the familiar, he knows that he should take it to Eliza. Now, who is Eliza? Eliza is from the Bartlett family. She is always, queen. Whoever ends up succeeding the throne, Skinnell or Evelyn, will end up marrying her, which she also grew up with them their entire life. And yeah, that familiar is hers. You can tell from the tone of my voice I am really excited to talk about Eliza. Anyways, Eliza decides to take heir of the Covenant out for a tour as a thank you for bringing her familiar back to her. And while she's giving him a tour, she makes eye contact with Evelyn, and Evelyn is like, is for me? Anyways, a public freakout happens and like a golem goes crazy or something, a Ruberta. And then Evelyn comes in to save the day. Everyone is looking at him like, hooray, thank you, second to the throne, we love you. In fact, we want more public displays like this since the royalty never shows us commoners any attention. Which, this is where Epic 7 does a big, massive L, is that they dead ass just show you the background where Evelyn planned this. Yes, Evelyn planned this public freakout. He paid a bunch of people to just bring a Ruberta, cause problems, so you can have a good public view. I don't get it. I swear I don't get it. Like, if you want people to actually care about you, just do something good. Don't resort to something stupid. Anyways, again, I need to filter out my opinions because I'm already getting heated up. Anyways, so for the next 4 chapters, Ross does nothing. In fact, after Ross arrives at the castle, he talks with Skinnell and, they discuss about the alliance shenanigans, and there is a small disagreement. Skinnell, although he wants to sign this alliance, although he thinks this alliance is a very good idea, he cannot sign it for one reason. It's that he wants to make sure that the other countries, Politia and Winterberg, sign it, because apparently there's a war between Winterberg and the Dragon Valley. So, yeah, as long as he can guarantee that those other countries are willing to join, or even better, if Ross ends the war, then Lefundos is very happy to sign this paper. And Ross, heir of the Covenant, vigilant as he is, takes Chew and heads to Politia so that he can head to Wintenberg. Sounds amazing, isn't it? Oh, life is so simple. Except, it's really not. One day before Skinnell and Ross were negotiating for the alliance, Roman called out Eliza off to the side. He wanted to talk to her in private. You see, for the longest time, Ervelyn was suspected as the man who poisoned Skinnell, because the reason Skinnell ran away from the throne is because he got poisoned in the first place. But it turns out no, it was Eliza who did that, and Roman was gonna confront her about it. Unfortunately, Eliza was already prepared. She shows up with a automatic doll who looks exactly like Roman, except he doesn't really look exactly like Roman. I mean, we, as the reader, can easily tell the difference between Roman and benevolent Roman. But yeah, apparently, benevolent Roman is gonna replace Roman. Hell yeah, brother. Anyways, Eliza ends up ambushing Roman, and that's where Roman's story ends for now. The next day, Ross takes his leave, and again, nothing is suspicious. However, immediately after Ross leaves, we get confronted by Ervelyn. In fact, people are storming the castle, and it turns out there's a second Tywin. His name is Ambitious Tywin, by the way. And then you have normal Tywin fighting with Ervelyn, because, you know, it turns out Ervelyn is actually betraying you guys. And yeah, this happens. Eliza just points a knife to Skinnell's neck and forces Skinnell and Tywin to just surrender. And again, all this happens while Ross is making his way to Politia so he can make his way to Wintenberg. Oh, by the way, he has Chew with him. I guess that's a neat detail, right? Yeah, get cucked Skinnell, I guess. You know, I realized someone will probably kill me if I do not cover this. So, as we've established up to this point, this is where Ross does incredibly nothing, and this is where we fight Ervelyn and we get cucked. Surprisingly, this is the chapter where Ross leaves. He doesn't leave here, no, he leaves here. So, the timing could not be perfect. Anyways, so assuming you go to this rancid alley, journey home, and turning point, again, there is this one subscriber who will kill me if I do not cover this. So in episode 2, there's a Chaos Gate where the Chaos Sect, including Sirmia, enter. And it just takes them here. They take them to this rancid alley. And then, you know, they beat up a group of thieves. Those thieves think, Sirmia is flaunting her power and wealth. She must be a rich woman, and those Chaos Sect must be their mercenaries. They try to jump them again, but they fail. And then they're like, yo, I swear, if you do not take us to the closest port so we can go back to Britannia, we will kill you. Now these thieves lead them here. You see, Britannia is this way, so I don't know why the thieves are leading them here. Point is, Chaos Sect Axe is gonna camp here a bit, but Sirmia, she's going all the way back to Britannia. Now, let's come to the Willowfield East, Wild Plains, and Forest of Light and Shade. In this chapter, Eliza's old pet runs away. Ervelyn offers to help. Over here, Ervelyn, finds the pet dead, and he's like, just virtue signaling to Eliza that, this pet is kind of similar to Skinnell, and if you let it roam for free, it'll cause you problems and it'll end up dying. And then in this chapter, Eliza, gets the virtue signaling, and she's on Ervelyn's side now. And yeah, that's it. These chapters completely irrelevant to the story. You may ignore them. In fact, I would argue this is irrelevant, this is irrelevant, and this is irrelevant. This is also irrelevant. So yeah, these are the only two chapters. I guess this one, oh boy, damn, I drew on the wrong layer. Anyways, I would argue that the shadow by road or whatever it is, this chapter, this is the Roman chapter. This is where he gets kidnapped, or this is where he leads Eliza out, or I think this is whatever. And one of these two, Roman signals to Eliza to come with him, and yeah, that's where that happens, I guess. You can't say I didn't review this chapter properly. Let's move on to Politia for real this time.
Leave it to me. Let me show you my secret weapon. Respect the great land!
Welcome to Politia, the land of technology, sci-fi, control, and automatic dolls, or just dolls in general. Really quick, let's summarize the difference between an automatic doll and a doll. So basically, automatic dolls are kind of like robots, which you give, artificial intelligence to carry out your orders. Simple as. But then you have dolls, actual robots or boyroids, or I don't know, something that actually has free will and it has sentience. So although they are tasked to carry out their roles and orders, they still retain some level of free will and personality. With that out of the way, they comprise majority of the population. There are humans in Politia itself, but they've modified their bodies into cyborgs, so it really begs the question, how many, 100% humans live in Politia? I don't know these metrics, so I don't care. Now, on his way to Politia, Ross, our main character, heir of the Covenant, with the power of the light, sun, and universe. He gets sick of a cold on his way here. Amazing writing, 10 out of 10. Ross, heir of the Covenant, saving the world a million times, gets a cold that knocks him out. So Mercedes and Chu park him in like this hotel or something, and they go outside. Yeah, they're looking for food, and then they notice all the food here is like soup, or just, I don't know, very processed food, which they're looking for something hearty like fruits, vegetables, or something of that nature, maybe even meat, so they can make a stew to make Ross feel better. But of course they don't find any of that, and they advise him, go to District 4 if you're looking for those types of resources. Now, Chu and Mercedes don't know where is District 4, and that's when the doll, Chloe, appears. We will get into Chloe's character soon, but point is, we go to the District 4 metro station or something. Yeah, it was a metro station. And while we're there, it turns out Chloe is actually wanted. And support model Brinius is so fed up with Chloe breaking out of her prison that Chloe's sentence keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, that's a character archetype that I am interested in. Anyways, so we fight support model Brinius and we run away to District 4. Now, the thing here is, although Chu and Mercedes are suspicious of Chloe, they, for some reason, empathize with Chloe getting imprisoned multiple times, and they just help her escape. So although Chloe deceived them, she's fine. I think Chloe at heart is a good character. Anyways, so in District 4, lots of shit happens. Chloe says her goodbye, temporarily, and Chu and Mercedes look for food. Now, in that time, a man or a cyborg or a doll leaves a package on a chair, and later on, that man gets up and starts running away. Chu picks up that bag and tries to chase that man. Even though Chu is a pathfinder, she's supposed to be pretty fast, she could not catch up to a cyborg. Which, by the way, lore-wise, I think Chu has to be the weakest character. She's a literal child, okay? I mean, she doesn't have any magical capabilities. If anything, her S3 is just a big rat jumping on the enemy. So, yeah, Chu, lore-wise, is not as scary as she is in-game. Who would have thought? Anyways. So, Glenn appears and he asks Mercedes, where did this package go? And then it turns out Chu was giving that package to the police, saying, a man forgot this, can you take it to him? And then Glenn just shoots a freaking explosive at the police that almost injures Chu. It spooks her, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, we have a Glenn boss fight. And because the situation was escalating, Glenn just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna flashbang this place. I'm gonna take Chew with the package to the Vigilantes base. Now, who are the Vigilantes? Well, they're just a group of dolls that are really dissatisfied with the way the government is run. The leader of this group is Godmother, and the members are May, Sonia, Glenn. I think those are the main three. I forgot if there's anyone extra, but yeah, that's the group right now. Anyways, moving on. So Mercedes files a report looking for Chew, and that's when Landy appears. Now, Landy was looking for Chloe because Chloe is obviously wanted, and she escaped from Bernice's clutches. And although Landy was initially suspicious from Mercedes, when she sees Mercedes actually looking desperate to find Chew, Landy welcomes aboard Mercedes. Even though Mercedes committed the crime, which is letting Chloe escape, you know, Landy says she will punish her accordingly, or maybe she'll try to overlook that behavior for now. Now, during this interaction, Godmother and Glenn appear again, and Mercedes points out, yo, those are the people that took Chew. So you enter a boss fight, Landy versus Glenn and Godmother, and that's when it's revealed that Godmother actually used to be the leading police force behind Politia. Now, obviously, Landy leads the police force, but before her was Godmother. And although Landy had great respect for Godmother, as it turns out, when Godmother came to District 4 and she saw a child committing a crime, she realized at this moment that Politia does not serve its people. Instead, it's the people serving the country. And that just puts it into perspective. This child never wanted to be a thief. The country made him into a thief. So they enter a boss fight there, and Landy loses the fight because of an explosion. And since Landy, the captain of the police force, is down, the Vigilantes can finally move on to the next step of their plan, which is to seize control, or at the very least, they want to breach the Capitol building so they can confront Bellion about the way things are run. So while the Vigilantes are preparing all that, they take Mercedes to Chew, because, you know, the Vigilantes aren't bad guys. Their beef isn't with Ross, Mercedes, or Chew, or anything of that nature. So yeah, the Vigilantes are gonna go swarm the Capitol building. Landy, on the other hand, gets hacked by Sonia. Very interesting. Now, what is our main character Ross doing during this time? You guessed it, he just woke up from a nap. Hell yeah, that's my type of main character now. Alright, with the gist of chapter 2 done, we can actually speed up the story a little bit since this recap is going for quite a while. Part 2 is probably in session. Anyways, so Ross, heir of the Covenant, wakes up and figures out that there is conflict. That is literally what this chapter is all about. And in this chapter, we see Flawn wake up and she's getting up. Yo, Landy has been hacked. And you know, and before we talk about anything, let's open the map and look really quick. So I understand that we confront the hacked Landy here, or at least Flawn does, which makes no sense since this chapter is this one, right? So this is the point where Flawn realizes Landy might be hacked. But when does Flawn do this? Oh, you look at here. So this Outlaws Lane happens while Crowded Passage is happening. Okay, so why does this matter? It's because of How to Be a Sister, and this event tells you the background on Flawn and Landy, why Flawn cares so much. She's the Minister of Foreign Affairs or something of that sort. So I would put a big X on this event since it's completely unnecessary, not just to the story, but like everything about Politia could have been summarized in this chapter, but it's not. Two of the most important characters in the game are just figuring out how to be sisters. Oh, Ian shows up in this event, but does a whole nothing burger. In fact, the story makes you think he's mysterious, but he's nothing at all, at least not so far. And yeah, How to Be a Sister is connected into this, which is why this Outlaws Lane is kind of like fan service. So if you connect the dots, I think they could have done the timeline much better. Instead of making Falsehood Fork open here, they could have just made it open at Crowded Passage. But hey, leave it to Smilegate to make bad map design. But yeah, unless you like Flan and Landy. I mean, I like Landy, but if you like Flan specifically, this event is yours. Otherwise, it's a big X. Don't bother, right? Let's go back to our shenanigans. So, with that out of the way, we can actually cross this chapter out. Let's hide the map. Boom. Next, we have Unforeseen Disaster and Hidden Intentions. This is where the siege happens and Ross, heir of the Covenant, hops in to negotiate. He understands that people are frustrated, usually because of the government, or there must be a reason. No one is born wanting to overthrow a government or wanting to overthrow a system. So this is where negotiations come in. The Vigilantes get an agreement with Flan to, hey, let's actually talk and discuss what do you want. What Godmother wants is basically equal treatment across all districts, so that relief is distributed equally, rations are distributed equally. She wants us to actually be able to have some semblance of rights no matter our backgrounds, because some people are born poor and that makes them commit crime, and then when they commit the crime, they are basically outcasts in Politia's system. And Godmother argues that it's not that these people are bad, it's because Politia made this district specifically, right? So if these criminals were really not wanted, right, they would have been kicked out of Politia a long time ago. But the reason they're in Politia is because Politia deemed this place to exist. And that's where Bellion agrees to negotiation. So we can cross out this chapter. Ross, heir of the Covenant, he's doing some stuff. Now, before we get into genuine promise, we're gonna have to get into a side story, which is Kana Takes Flight. And so we begin with Kana Takes Flight. This is where bomb model Kana is taken to track Chloe alongside Brinius and command model Laika, which, by the way, it literally says it right here. They begin in Rengar. So this event takes place here. Whoosh. On this small island of Rengar, the worst place in Orbis. You know, I can make like a 15-minute video just insulting this chapter. In fact, it was so bad that they remade this chapter twice. Anyways, Rengar, nothing happens, really. Command model Laika, support model Bernice are looking for Chloe. Kana, on her way to look, fights, ends up blowing up something, and now Laika has to pay fines and charges. However, in that time, the machinery goes crazy, so command model Laika orders Kana to do her thing, and then Kana helps, so that reduces their fine, and then because this stuff was ruined and the machines were broken, they needed someone to shoot fireworks, and then Kana decides she will do it, and then when Kana shoots fireworks, everyone's happy, their sentence is reduced, and perfect. Kana is happy, Laika is happy, Brinius not so happy. Alright, next up we move, never mind, not to the Queen of Everything. We move here to this land close to Witch Haven. Well, next up they look for Chloe here. I have no idea why or how, but they interact with Vivian. Vivian shares information about Witch Haven and other shenanigans, but Laika also discloses that information. And then later on, Laika gives up. She goes to the World's End pub somewhere around here, or here. I forgot which location exactly, around here. I almost drew a dick and that would just destroy the video. Anyways, so they go around here and then they realize, well, we have no clues on Chloe, please help us. And Garu discloses that information that Chloe is somewhere around here, around Solayu. I'm gonna remove that circle for obvious reasons, which takes us to I'm the queen of everything. Chloe was in this mansion, the mansion of Flamer, which is Charlotte's father's mansion, and Charlotte ran away in that time, which is when Cecilia event happens, by the way, and let's just say things aren't going so nice with Paradoxia, so Chloe ends up running away. She stumbles upon this maid cafe and she becomes the queen of that cafe. Although the owner of that cafe was very dissatisfied with Chloe's self-narcissism because she keeps calling herself queen even though she's maid, she stands up to some thugs one day and she bunks him with her hammer, and let's just say the owner has had enough of her. But right before the owner is about to kick her, the other maids come in and they're like, hey, that's not good. Chloe is protecting us. In fact, she's the only one who cares about us. She's the only one who actually treats us like her subjects or something. And that's where the owner has a change of heart and keeps Chloe as the queen of this maid cafe. She actually made the thing perfect. However, disaster strikes, Laika arrives, and the owner is like, no, I will not let you take Chloe unless you can convince the maid of Flamer to join us. And the maid of Flamer, Paradoxia, actually joins because she's heartbroken because every queen keeps leaving her. And so they end up taking Chloe back to Politia. Hell yeah. Okay, now we can finally start with platform D7. Now this is the side story, or this is the moment where Chloe enters this. Actually, this is the split off point between Mercedes and stuff. So this is where Chloe enters platform D7. She finds a cafe and she's like, yo, are you the owner of this cafe? And he's like, yep, I am. And so this guy actually lets her live right beside her or right above her. I don't know, right above him, my bad. And he's like, 3 terms. What happens at the cafe is none of your concern. I mean, you can work here, but like, don't worry too much about the details. And number 2, don't disturb the life here, as in, you know, just don't get personal with the cafe owner. And number 3, keep relations professional. I don't know, at least I'm going off memory here. And so Chloe offers a new dish, and that dish doesn't sell well. This is where we move to bustling roadside. This is where the disaster strikes and Chloe confronts him about it. Yo, a new menu item isn't selling well. We need to do something about it. The owner is like, didn't we agree that you will not concern yourself with, you know, the status or the way this cafe is run? And she's like, no, as owner, you should be concerned that a new item is not selling out from the very first week. And so Chloe goes out in the streets, and that's where she finds Rima. As you can see, Rima, she was roaming the lands because she's a bard, right? And damn, I really picked everything except the wrong slide. Anyways, so Rima was roaming the land, and she went from Britannia to Rotted Earth, aka Sidonia, and then she moved to Northern Eureka because guess what? None of her songs are selling. She's a bard, and people only care about Tamarin's songs. And that's why she ends up appearing in Bustling Roadside. She's trying to sing, she's trying, but no one cares. And someone tries to attack Rima, but Chloe ends up helping on accident, and that's where Chloe realizes, yo, you're good at singing, come to the cafe. Now, unfortunately, Rima's singing does not attract any new customers because she's standing right above or right in front of the cafe door. In fact, it's shooing away customers. While Chloe and the cafe owner are talking about that, Rima stops playing her instrument and runs away. Because classic Rima, am I right? As Rima's running away, I don't know, she runs into this bad alley, and then some cyborgs realize, yo, that's a human, that's unmodified. We can probably sell some organs or, you know, just try testing out some new pieces on her. That's when Chloe appears again, bunks him, and she's like, listen, Rima, you're a needed, necessary part of the team, and you're my subject. A queen never betrays her subjects, am I right? So Chloe ends up bringing Rima inside the cafe instead of outside, and contrary to the cafe owners' expectations, customers actually started flooding in. Amazing. 10 out of 10. Good ending. Actually, Chloe somehow managed to make this gloomy looking cafe run properly. And by the way, I think Maid Chloe's skin just might be inspired from Muse Rima's skin. Just keeping that in mind. With that out of the way, we can actually start talking about Frostwood Lane, aka the chapter in which Ross and Bellion sit together. Forgive me for that stupid background noise. I don't know why every time I try to record there, the AC decides to do funny things. Anyways, continuing on, in this chapter, Bellion looks aware that Ross, heir of the Covenant, has come here for the Alliance, and she tells him, hey, stay here a while. And god damn it, 2 weeks! 2 weeks! You know what happens in those 2 weeks? For God's sake, it's the Irvelin event. Oh man, I swear half of this video is talking about events. We're not even done with Politia yet. This is episode 2, chapter 2, and we're almost 50 minutes in. Anyways, Irvelin chapter. Simply put, after Irvelin seizes the throne, my man throws Skinnell and Tywin into prison, and he picks up the knights that Skinnell has trained, and he's like, listen, you guys are gonna go through harsh training. If you do not meet my standards, I will personally screw you over, and if you meet my expectations, you will become my personal guards. And yeah, that will come to bite back Irvelin, but hey, I don't care. I don't want to talk about this event. Frankly speaking, we can finally say that Politia is done. Chapter 2 done. What's ahead of us should be much quicker. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video, because as I was recording this, I am losing my sanity. Anyways, thank you for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.